The American people deserve all the facts about what happened in Benghazi. That's why it's so important for Secretary Clinton to turn over her personal server to a neutral third party. I think this is the fairest way to make sure that we have all the documents that belong to the public and ultimately all the facts.
All right, the words Clinton and scandal, part of the everyday lexicon inside the Washington, D.C. Beltway, has been since the 90s. Every time something new crops up, there are plenty of people who believe this has to be the last one to make the rounds. There just couldn't be another. Of course, there is. Many Democrats believe the former Secretary of State is forever tarnished. Others wash it out as nuisance. Let's just start here, begin the arena, if you will. Welcome back to MidPoint. The host of Steele and Ungar on Sirius XM and the senior political contributor at Forbes magazine, left-speaking Rick Ungar, and also New York attorney and radio talker who is always being admonished to speak his mind and let it all out. He actually went in the dark this time. See, he's trying to hide already, I'm telling you. From the right, Adam Thompson joins us. Gentlemen, thanks for being here.
Great to be here, Ed.
All right, Rick, I'm going to come right at you.
Adam to have trouble speaking his mind.
Yeah, always. We're trying to get him to actually breathe a little bit and get it out there.
Come out of his shell.
Rick, I'm going to start with you. Come on now. Here's a letter from, or actually a column from Dan Metcalf in Politico today. This is the guy who was the founding director of the Justice Department's Office of Information and Privacy. He says Hillary's email defense is completely laughable. Reality is not her friend. John Boehner says it's time to cough up that server and let the American people find out what's really wrong here. Wouldn't it just be good if she cooperated at this point, Rick?
Well, yeah. I mean, I suppose I'm supposed to take the other point of view, but you don't have to.
Please take whatever point of view you want, Rick. I will never put words in your mouth, my friend.
or anything else. Yes, it would be a lot easier if she would just turn over the server. I frankly don't think there's going to be any startling Benghazi revelation on that server. But, you know, he's right. Nobody's buying her excuse. Nobody's going to buy her excuse. I think it's more likely she just kind of follows the, what we've now come to know as Clinton paranoia. And to some extent, I understand why she has it. She's been beaten on mercilessly for a generation, so I get it. But you know what? When you accept the job of Secretary of State, you have to accept the rules that come with it. And one of those rules is you should be turning, if you're going to keep those emails yourself, you better turn them over in a reasonable period of time, and you better turn them all over. You don't get to decide which ones you want to erase and which ones you want to keep. So yes, I find myself in agreement with the writer. I read the piece. I find myself in agreement with the Speaker of the House. Just turn over the server and be done with it.
There you go. Adam, I throw it to you. I mean, when we talk about beating up mercilessly on Mrs. Clinton, look, I don't think anybody's being unfair here. I don't think anybody is singling her out. I think this is exactly what she has brought upon herself.
Same rules for everybody, Ed. This is about accountability and it's about transparency. She knows what the rules are and would enforce them against other federal agency employees. So how would she not think that they don't apply to her? What's really troubling here is these emails are not saved anywhere in any kind of cloud-based domain. They're in an email server in her own private residence that no one has access to. So whatever applies under the Federal Records Act is out the window. But what if you want to bring a lawsuit and it involves getting access to these emails under the Freedom of Information Act?
Wait a minute. You hit the FOIA word, if you will, there. Rick, I understand you were just going to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, first of all, I agree. You know, notice how hard Adam had getting his point out. He really struggles with this.
He does.
Look, I agree completely with what Adam said. Under FOIA, we do have rights to get to those emails, and that's the reason they should have been turned over. But as to lawsuits, there is a critical lawsuit that's been filed by the Associated Press, and that lawsuit may be what ultimately forces Mrs. Clinton to turn the server over.
Well, isn't it odd how we talk about the Freedom of Information Act, and here we have today the White House removing the federal regulation that subjects its office to the FOIA. Wait a minute, I got to tell you, Rick, you got to understand, people are going to say cover up right off the bat.
Yeah, but it's you know, I've already seen that mentioned about, and I don't quite understand why. It's just one particular administrative office. It really wouldn't affect the situation we're discussing with Secretary Clinton. And by the way, it's not a cover-up. It's the result of a lawsuit that began long before the president was there pushing for exactly that. So there'll be a lot of smoke by opponents over it, but it's not really real.
How is that for you, Adam? Is it all smoke?
I'm not a fan of any kind of restrictions on the Freedom of Information Act. I think the public has an absolute right to be able to get any information as a taxpayer that you want to get by putting in a submission. I'm not against any kind of limitation.
Even classified?
Even classified information?
Why should I? You know, we always get into this argument about classified information. What's classified? Who deems it that? Almost anything could be labeled for national security purposes. It means
So, Adam, are you suggesting we have no such thing as classified?
Say again?
Are you suggesting no classified communications then because you don't trust whoever makes those decisions? Is that what you're suggesting?
Are you asking if I trust the government in making decisions? I don't.
No. I'm asking you if you think we should do away with classified information because you don't trust anybody. Should we make all of our secrets known and available to everybody?
Come on, Adam. You can't make all the secrets available here.
I'm not saying it's that far sweeping, but when you have literally in the tens of millions of documents that are classified, there's something wrong. Really, that many number of documents classified? I think not.
All right, hang on, guys. I got about a minute 30
left. You'll feel better
left.
if we appoint you.
No, I certainly would.
Hey, let's get it going. I'm ready. I got my stamp right here.
I got about a minute 30 left. Hey, listen, let's go back to that because I wanted you to hear this. This is the Secret Service Director, Joseph Clancy, explaining why the Secret Service feels it needs an $8 million replica of the White House. Listen up to this one.
The mock-up of the White House. We feel that's important. Right now, we train on a parking lot, basically. We put up a makeshift fence, and walk off the distance between the fence at the White House and the actual house itself. And we don't have, on that parking lot, we don't have the bushes, we don't have the fountains, we don't get a realistic look at the White House.
15 seconds, Rick. What do you think? $8 million for a new White House just to train the Secret Service.
I have one in my backyard. I built they can use. I don't know. You know, $8 million is a lot of money to us. I don't know that it is to the government. If it helps protect the White House, okay. I mean, I don't see it as a major issue.
What do you think, Adam?
$300 for a Lego replica. They can do the same thing and then you're done. There's my answer.
Look at it this way. If they're going to go ahead and spend $8 million, they got to have a few things there that the cars can run into, right? They got to have a few things there to run into and run over, and they'll be perfect.
It's going to be
This is not the biggest of their problems right now.
There you go. That's going to have to be the last word because that's well put. Rick Ungar, Adam Thompson, always a pleasure, guys. Look forward to the next time we'll bring Adam out of his shell. I know we will every single time.
All right, let's see what we can do.
Take care, guys. All right. Better be extra careful before filling out that tournament bracket at work. The long arm of the law may not be far behind. Legal, and more coming up right here on MidPoint.